All right, welcome in, y'all. Happy Monday, if there ever was such a thing. I'm Chris, your host. I'm flying solo this afternoon, but we'll get through it either way. Not a whole lot of NFL DFS on the slate for tonight, so I figured we'd break down the DraftKings and FanDuel main slates for Major League Baseball tonight. So let me go ahead and just share my screen here so y'all can see what I'm looking at. Um, yeah, that's good. Let's make that even a little bigger, why don't we? There we go. Okay. All right, so main slate starts tonight at 7:05 on DraftKings and um, FanDuel. So we'll start here with the park factors. The only game on this list here that is not on the slate tonight will be this game at Great American Ballpark between the Phillies and the Reds. Everything else is in play on both slates, it looks like. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So right off the bat here, we see a couple of really good spots for runs as far as park factors are concerned. And again, with these park factors, you don't want to read too much into some of these park factors. Um, Baseball is a very, very variable sport. A lot of very high variance. Anything can happen on any given day on the baseball field. But we do have a lot of data now, almost three-quarters of the season's worth here for Sutter Health Park that tells us um, these numbers here are good for us. We probably want to be targeting this game this evening. Uh, we got the Rays at Athletics. I'll show you some of what I'm talking about here. First of all, Sutter Health, very receptive to the wind. We can see these arrows blowing out, mean that we got some wind here. And the little wind emoji here. When it's two winds, that means we got a lot probably. So let's take a look. Yeah. So, like I said, very high receptive to the wind here. We got 13-mile-an-hour wind blowing straight out of this ballpark. So Tampa Bay, the Athletics, this is a game we're going to want to be targeting for offense. Probably want to stay away for pitching. Another good spot we have Angel Stadium looks like a decent, I don't necessarily always pay attention to the home run numbers here at the beginning of this box. The runs are, to me, the most important category here. So you see Sutter Health by far and away the best spot tonight. Kaufman looks like he's got a little wind. High humidity, which is also good for carrying the baseball. Not too much wind. 7 miles an hour blowing out to start the game. Kaufman's very receptive to the wind, but I don't think we'll have much going here. Angel Stadium got a pretty consistent breeze here throughout the day, but not too crazy. Oracle Park, this is a place that, I don't really go out of my way to target it on a nightly basis. That 11-mile-an-hour wind's not going to do much there. It's a big ballpark. The other thing we're looking at, other than wind here, we want to see these red suns. I mean, this means it's hot. That's great for carrying the baseball. And we want to see low air pressure. So across the board here, we're in pretty decent shape. Again, Sutter Health, man, look, low air pressure, not much humidity, and uh, and 90, 82. So, yeah, Sutter Health is going to be a place we're going to want to stay focused on. Then I'd say maybe, yeah, Great American's not on the slate. So Angel Stadium, maybe, yeah, that's about it for the park factors here. So, Sutter Health will be our first stop for offense. So let's just go ahead and take a look at some of these game tiles here. So, like I said, Phillies and Reds not on the slate. Um, some decent totals here. The Yankees we've got projected for 5.3. The Brew Crew, same thing. Cardinals we've got over a 5 run projection. Nats at Royals. This will be a good spot for offense. Probably Tigers at Sox, decent spot. Um, Dodgers in LA. We looked at that game a little bit. And then, the Rays aren't getting a big run total here in Sutter Health tonight. So the A's on DraftKings are always very expensive, but I'm probably going to want to try to figure out a way to load up on them tonight. So, um, go through some of these here just so you can see who's pitching. Twins, Yankees, Will Warren, Zebby Matthews. Sneaky spot for Zebby, probably. Good spot for Paddock. Royals at Nationals. It's a good spot for the Nats here. Bailey Falter has not been good all season long. He's probably somebody we'll want to pick on. Um, yeah. So anyway, let's jump into looking at some of these projections now. So let's start with where we always want to start our starting pitchers. Let's just take a look here. I like to sort by strikeouts because that's kind of, uh, the most important thing here in fantasy baseball as far as pitching is concerned. So Garrett Crochet looks like he's got the top projection tonight. No surprise there. Yamamoto, the second most. I highlighted him on our IG page earlier on Fantasy Rant Instagram. Yamamoto is probably my clear SP1 tonight. He gets the Angels. They've been terrible striking out this year. I mean, I think they are the highest. They're dead last in Major League Baseball. So it's a good spot for Yamamoto. Yeah, like I was saying, Zebby, another good spot for Zebby here. 6.3 Ks we have him projected for. Ryan Nelson's another guy I highlighted earlier. Um, we like this spot because he's going to be. We'll look at salaries in a minute, but he's one of the cheaper pitchers you can find tonight. So when we scroll down here a little bit, we can sort of see, start looking at these runs, hits, and walks here. Really just hits and walks. You start to see red, you know, Cavalli, not a good spot. Uh, Abbott, not a great spot. I actually, we we took the under on his Ks. That's right. We took the under on his Ks this morning on our free picks. Anyway, Abbott, yeah, bad spot. Cavalli, bad spot. Falter, like I mentioned, bad spot here. Haney, bad spot. So these are, I mean, we should probably be targeting Bailey Falter. I'm thinking the Nationals offense is probably going to be in play. And I'm thinking the Athletics offense will definitely be in play. Yeah. All right. This is, and by the way, for anybody wondering, this is ballparkpal.com. Huge shout out to Aaron over there. This is it's an overwhelming amount of data to nerd out on. So if you're inclined to go check that website out, I know it's a lot. Never fear, we'll help you through it. Okay. So let's go ahead and just start looking at projections and we'll try to build a DraftKings and FanDuel lineup. Okay. So the first thing we want to look at here, we're on DraftKings, 705, 10 game slate. Let's start with the pitchers. Oops. The only thing about this site is a little buggy sometimes. All right, so like we said here, Garrett Crochet is going to be the guy that the projections love the most. Um, 11.5 thousand. I can't really see us paying for that. It's hard to build any kind of solid game stack lineup when you're paying 11.5 for a starting pitcher. So me, I'd like to start a little cheaper than that. Uh, that's kind of why my eyes immediately go here to Yamamoto. Maybe not as much upside as Crochet, but safe nonetheless. And I mean, there's just a ton of case to be had against this Angels lineup. So for me, where I want to start, and we're going to go ahead and put them on there, um, Yamamoto will be our SP1 tonight. No need to overthink that. Next, I mentioned that Ryan Nelson was somebody I was kind of high on this morning. Still am. As the days going on, the projections have sort of went a little south on him. Uh, let's open him up here. What I like about it, and this has been all year long. Let's look at his last 10 starts. Okay. These are his last 10 starts. And let's just look at filter by DraftKings points. Okay. You'll see here in his last 10 starts, he's gone 15 or more in 9 of them. Okay. So to me, this is the kind of consistency we would love to be able to have out of our SP2 spot. Um, Playing against the Diamondbacks tonight, we don't have a lot of strikeouts projected for, but 5.3 still pretty solid. Low hit total here. Uh, Maybe a little heavy on the walks, but I'm not too concerned with that. Yeah, I mean, he's low hit total too. So overall, this is a solid projection, 14 and a half points, right in line with pretty much what he's done. Going back to June and even further back, I mean, in his last 15, he's done it, 10 out of 15 times going back to mid May. So um, I like Ryan Nelson. I think that's probably my pick for SP2. But there are others to consider here. I think, like I said, Zebby in a good spot. I know everyone's going to be scared off by this Yankees lineup, but it's not as intimidating as you think it is. And yeah, I think this is a good spot for Zebby. Depending on your tolerance for risk, you could um, you could put Miles Mikolas on your SP2 list as well. I don't think I'm going to go there, but against the Rockies, it's I mean 6,300. It's quite attractive. Let's see what kind of lineup we can build with Mikolas. Okay. Now, we mentioned that the A's and the Royals were somewhere we wanted to sort of uh, target tonight. So let's go ahead and filter out. Let's just look at see who's popping in projections first before we do all that. So no surprise here. I mean, guys like Aaron Judge, top of the board, Otani, top of the board, Bobby Witt, top of the board. But look, James Wood, we mentioned here that Nationals game against the Royals. Bailey Falter is going to be a target for us, I think. So guys like Wood are definitely in play. The whole Nationals team is in play, I think. You scroll down this list here, you got Wood, we've got CJ Abrams. They're just, man, they're expensive. Goodness. Josh Bell down here, a little salary relief, 3,100. Yeah, maybe. So let's just start with the athletics here. Okay. Now, what I like to do on DK, the most optimal uh, build to win tournaments on DraftKings is what we call a 5-2 stack. Uh, 5-man team stack on one side, two guys on the other side. This is how you take down the big rooms with lots of contestants. If you're building more for single entry cash games, we don't necessarily need to stack all five pieces, but we still want to correlate our lineup. The highest correlated positions uh, in DFS baseball are going to be the first and second spots in the lineup, the third and fourth spots in the lineup, and then believe it or not, 7 and 8 are also very high correlation. It's just a lot of that is because of the first inning of baseball games. At least the first three guys are guaranteed to get up, so um, that sort of skews those numbers a lot. But we want to build with that in mind. So we'll go to the athletics here, and you kind of see how the sausage is made here. What I like to do is uh, try to get an idea on how I can build this stack affordably. And when you look, if you know the we saw the A's were getting a 5.3 run uh, projection, so we can feel good about the guys in the heart of this lineup. We can feel good about 4, 5, and 6. And when I look here at Gio Urshela and I see 2.4, $2,400 on the salary, I love that. That's the guy we can build around. That'll help us pay for Soderstrom, Butler, and then maybe if we want to stack four A's in a single entry type of thing, we could do. I don't know if we could justify spending 6,200 on Nick Kurtz. Maybe in a single entry or a cash lineup, you can. Um, but I'm going to go ahead and just start with Urshela, and I think I like playing both outfielders here, Soderstrom and Butler. So let's just call that our little A stack for now. We'll come back to it. Maybe we'll add a fourth piece depending on um, how salary looks. It's going to be tough to build. So the other spot we wanted to look at was that Nationals Royals game. So let's go on over here. So the thing about this is, like, look, we've got Josh Bell here, 3,100. Solid projection. He's not got the upside of Wood, but we might be able to get to Wood through a guy like Bell. So I definitely wouldn't mind paying 3,100 for Bell. We could put him in. We do want another piece of this game, so let's just go with James Wood for now and see where we are. So we still need a shortstop, a second baseman, and a catcher. We've got 14,000 to spend. That's a little over 4,300 bucks per position. So let's just go ahead and filter out what we're not going to use here. All right, and go back to all games. A lot of nationals up at the top here still. I mean, I guess there's nothing wrong with looking at possibly taking CJ Abrams. We'll come back to that. Let's see where we can land at catcher. Let's filter by points though. I love playing a guy like Ezekiel Tovar. Um, in this matchup, I don't know though. Let's see. Who they got today? I mean, I'm playing the Cardinals. Who's pitching? Oh yeah, Mikolas. That's right. Actually, we're actually we're starting Mikolas, so maybe we don't do that. But let's just see what Tovar's history against Mikolas is. We can scroll all the way down here. We can go to the Cardinals because they're playing the Cardinals, and we can look at the history. And we've got Mikolas here. We see Tovar's 1 for 3 against them. Uh, yeah, I know there's not a huge projection tonight for the Rockies. 4.5 runs. Tovar usually hits toward the top of this lineup. We don't know where he is right now. Let's see. Yeah, well, he'd be batting up the top of this lineup. He should be. Let's keep him in mind. Maybe we'll come back to him. Trevor Story, not tonight. Mookie Betts. Yeah, you know what? I like that. Let's probably go here at shortstop. Man, Tovar's just nah. Let's say Betts. We could save a lot of money going to Tovar, but I think the Dodgers. That game is another one we looked at that has the possibility of uh, a lot of offense tonight. So let's go Betts. Okay, and that leaves us 9,200. So we got 46 apiece here. Um, we need a catcher and a second baseman. So second baseman is usually one of the cheaper spots to grab. Um, yeah, let's look at Dijon here. So they got what's the matchup there? Right, Cavalli. So man, both sides of this game are going to be targets here. But I like the Nationals. So let's see what he's done against Cavalli. Falter. There we go. And no history to rate. Okay. So, but I like him. I think he's a good piece of our stack here. So we'll do that. Yeah. And we can pick, well, we got to play him a second. That's right. So let's do that. All right. So now we've got 6,300 for our catcher spot. And I don't think we're going to spend all the way up here. Matter of fact, I can already tell you I have been looking at Glaber all day. I kind of want to go there. No, here, let's do this. We're going to spin down a catcher instead. So let's do. We'll spin down a catcher, and then we can upgrade either the second baseman or our second pitcher spot. So I'm just trying to look here for the catcher. Always stinks. So let's stay in that Nationals game. Okay, we'll yeah, let's stay here. We'll go Riley Adams at catcher, and then we'll probably boost up our second base to Gleyber Torres. And then that'll leave us 1.9. So we can get Mikolas out of here and look at what that does for us at pitcher. Okay. So, yeah, that puts us back in the Ryan Nelson range. That's kind of where I was looking, but I also like this Sebby Matthews. I think what we'll do, uh, we're going to start Ryan Nelson. Okay. Oh, I hit the wrong button. We'll start Rhine, and that will be our DK lineup. And I hit the wrong button again. I keep doing that. Anyway. All right, cool. So you see there, that's our projection 106.2. We're looking for some upside on that. Hopefully, this is sort of a more cash game, single entry, high floor type of build. So this is one of those you don't want to throw into a 150 max contest. You don't want to throw it into maybe even a 20 max contest. This is more of high floor type of play. So we like this. Go ahead and put a pin in that and move over to FanDuel. So we'll notice right away, same slate on FanDuel. A lot of the plays are going to be similar, um, smaller salaries, obviously, but some guys that maybe weren't popping off the page on DK sometimes will on FanDuel. FanDuel really rewards strikeouts a lot more than DraftKings. I mean, you'll see the scores are going to be double. We only have to start one pitcher here. Okay, so we could definitely be a little more what's the word I'm looking for? Ambitious with who we draft. So that I've found myself playing crochet a lot on FanDuel this year. And I think that's kind of where I want to start tonight. So we'll lock him in. And then we're going to go right back to the athletics. Let's put our hitters in first. All right, so we'll look at the athletics and Rays game. So one thing to take note of, the salary's different. The salary cap's different, obviously, from DK to FanDuel. We've got 24,000 remaining, and we've got 8 spots to fill. Excuse me. Um, they merge catcher and first base here, so you just kind of got to pick your favorite of those two. And we've got about 3,000 per position to spend since we just loaded up at starting pitcher. So the first thing I like to do is find guys in those games that we've highlighted to be uh, offensive targets and look for the under 3K guys. Okay, so right off the bat, we see Lawrence Butler leading off for the A's. I love finding a leadoff guy, a value salary leadoff guy. Love it, love it. I try to plug them into my lineup. Every lineup I make, if I can find a value leadoff bat, he's in there. So we are going to do that again here with Lawrence Butler, and we'll start there. Again, I like Urshela. Um, I think we can go there. Now, FanDuel's a little different for the optimal stacks. Again, if you're building just a cash game or single entry, I have found the most success. I've taken down a few single entry rooms in the thousand contestant range, building 4-3 stacks. And those on FanDuel are by far and away the most optimal for taking down all the big GPPs. Just because you're playing in a single entry doesn't mean you necessarily have to build for high floor and to sacrifice upside to build in the floor, um, because you know that these single entries I've mentioned that I've played in and 1,500 contestants. So when you're playing against that many lineups, you definitely want to have some upside and some. You want to be able to differentiate your lineups too a little bit. I think Urshela at his price point will be kind of popular, but that's okay. Uh, we just if this stat goes off, we'll want to have the cheap guy that was carried with it. So let's play him not at first though, because there's some big bats usually at first base on FanDuel. So we'll play him at third, even though there's usually some good bats there too. And we're on a 10-game slate, but we'll try it. Play him at third. That leaves us 18.8. So we're definitely under uh, our target so far. So we can probably afford Soderstrom. So let's stay here with these three guys. We know we got three A's. Let's build with those three for now. And let's take a look at some of these other games. Try to find another mini stack, and then maybe come back to playing Nick Kurtz in this lineup. Uh, it might be hard to get him in because we spent 11,000 at pitcher, but we're gonna try. So the Royals are usually pretty cheap on FanDuel. They have been. Um, so let's go to that game. That's at Royals. And let's just see. We'll sort by Royals here. We loaded up on the Nats and our DraftKings lineup. So let's hedge a little bit and try to grab some Royals for this one. Doesn't look like India's playing tonight. So we can start with, again, a $2,800 leadoff guy in Yastrzemski. So let's start there. One of the highest upside bats in this lineup is going to be Salvador Perez. Let's go there as well. We can always put a slugger in our utility spot. So let's go Perez at oh, we can't. We already got Soderstrom in there. Okay, good call. So we can't play Pasquantino either. We can play Michael Garcia. We can play him as second. So I'm gonna do that. So let's leave that there for now. And, actually, I think we can afford him. Let's just go ahead and put Kurtz in our lineup. Let's go back here and grab him so we don't forget. He's gonna have to go in our utility spot because first base is already taken. So now we got an outfielder and a shortstop, and we've got 5,600 remaining. So we've got 2,800 per spot left. So let's just go count what we got here. We got one A, two A's, three A's. We got four A's, and we've got one, two Royals. So we won't be afraid to take a Royal if we have to, but let's just filter out shortstop and outfield. So at shortstop, oh no, we want to go to all games though. All right, so let's sort by points. Okay, so a lot of the same big names, that we had on DraftKings. Obviously, your Woods, your Judges, Otanis. These are going to be the guys that are uh, projecting high. We got to try to spend under 3,000, 2,800 or less, really, for per position left. So that leaves us in the range of guys like Newt Bar, Grisham. We already got Butler in there. Carpenter's one I like starting. Actually, I mean, yeah, we're gonna stick to our theme of finding uh, value outfielders that are leading off. So we're gonna play Newt Bar here. That's gonna make finding a shortstop pretty difficult, but I'm sure there are some to be had. Yeah, I mean, we could go to Tovar. We could go to DeYoung again. We could go to Kim. I think honestly, this fills this out pretty nicely. Let's go to Ezekiel Tovar. We'll play him. So you see this lineup has got a 4-2 A's, a 4-2 Athletics Royal stack. Um, and I sometimes I try to build for that third. So now if I'm building 150 lineups, this is a good opportunity to talk about that actually, since we don't have a whole lot and we finished a little early. Let me take a few minutes just to explain my 150 lineup process to y'all real quick, because you'll hear me talk about it from time to time. But uh, if I'm building 150 lineups, like I don't do it like this. I don't really hand build like we just did here tonight. This is for uh, head to head type matchups, 50-50s, um, other cash style games, cash format games, low contestant, um, low contest size, single entry type stuff. When we're doing 150, we want to sort of key in on a couple of offensive targets. We want to have, okay, we want to go after the Ace tonight. We want to go after the Nationals tonight. We want to go after the Royals. We want to go after the Dodgers. We've got 3 or 4 or 5 teams maybe that we really want to target for offense. And so I'll start finding um, how much of those I want to put into 150 lineups. And this is when you have to use an optimizer. Um, and if you ever want to talk about optimizers, leave a comment in the chat. I can point y'all to some great optimizers. Um, hopefully, we'll have an optimizer here at Stadium Rant soon. Won't be this year, maybe by next football season. We're working on it. Um, it's a lot that goes into that. But so anyway, you just try to find, like, if I'm playing those 4 teams, uh, you know, I just sort of rank them in order. Okay, I think the Athletics are the best tonight, so I'm going to try to get them in a a 5-man athletic stack at about 35 to 40% of my 150 lineups. And what's cool about it, and I'll put this back on for a second. I'll show y'all. For instance, what's really cool about ballparkpal.com, they don't have an optimizer per se if you go there. But what they do have is, okay, so let's say we want to check out that athletics game tonight, okay? And we want to try to build 150 lineups, and we know we want uh, 50 of them to be athletics game stacks, right? So we I like to sort by team here, and I'll look and I'll just say, okay, like, who's the best bat in this lineup? Who do I want the anchor tonight to be? Who's projecting the best? Just kind of looking through it here. Soderstrom, he's got green across the board here. These I love color coded charts. This is perfect. He's a guy I'm wanting to start, kind of anchor my lineups to. So I click on his name. That's what I love about ballparkpal.com. You can go right here to the 5-man stack. Okay. And I sort it by upside, finding the highest upside stack. And look at this. We've got, how many are on screen here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 times 4. There's 67, 68 different lineups here you can build with a 5-man A stack on FanDuel. Okay. Well, okay, we're on FanDuel. We don't need to stack 5. You can't stack 5 on FanDuel, but you can on uh, uh, DraftKings. But on FanDuel, the most you can do is 4. Okay. Sorry about that. So on FanDuel, you can do a 4-man stack, but still here. Okay. We got 50, 55, 57, something odd lineups. So we could easily go off this list, and these are guys that I'm going to put right into my optimizer and say, okay, these are my core guys for my athletic stacks tonight. And it'll build, optimizers will generate blah blah blah. So that's when you hear me talk about 4-man stacks, 5-man stacks. A lot of that is with the thought of building 150 lineups. You don't have to go that heavy on a particular game to win a cash game. Cash game formats, single entry formats, guys, you're playing against uh, the most chalky plays of the night because you only have to finish in the top 50% of the contestants to cash your money, right? So, um, you you don't need to take flyers on Gio Urshela tonight, or maybe you do. Maybe he's the chalky value play, but you want to build lineups that consist of the more popular chalky plays. So that's the difference when we talk about 150 lineup builds to more single entry type stuff. You'll hear me say that, and you may be wondering what I'm talking about. That's what it is. So anyway, yeah. Hopefully you've been tailing us and you plugged these lineups in. I am going to use both. I play every lineup that I show you guys. I build. I put them in. Um, Yeah, I don't have DraftKings up right now. I show you. I'm behind. I still gotta move my money into the DraftKings account and build a team tonight. So I'm a little behind. I'll be rushing those lineups in tonight, but I built them here. So yeah, we'll check these tomorrow. We'll see how well we did, and hopefully I'll see you guys at the top of the leaderboard. Here, let's see if we got any comments going. I can't see any. Well, my screen's not being friendly with me right now, so I can't tell. But if you have any questions or uh, something I didn't go over that you're confused about, feel free to ask. Um, just trying to think of things we could talk about uh, before we sign off tonight because we have a few minutes before lineup locks. Um, a good time to talk about. I, we got football season coming up, so let's talk a little football real quick before we sign off. Um, we have football season coming up over the next 3 weeks. We're going to be drafting a lot of best ball teams. Okay. Um, DraftKings best ball. We did one on Sunday. We'll try to do a few more between now and week 1 of the regular season. Um, what what else we're gonna do? Every Tuesday, you can. No, every Monday you can tune in here. We will go over what we did the Sunday main slate, what worked, what didn't. Every Thursday, we'll sort of preview the coming NFL week, the coming NFL main slate on Sunday, sort of our first look, and then every Sunday, obviously, Saturday night we're going to release a show that breaks down the entire main slate. So, if you're like me, you sit down Saturday night, drink some coffee, bust out all your data, bust out all your charts, all your projections, and you start um, building your teams. So you can do that with us on in the background. Okay. Um, with the season coming up, like I said, we're going to do a few more best ball drafts to try to uh, do some of those. I mean, it's DraftKings take on year long football. Uh, so they're finally trying to get into that market a little bit. I love it. I've been having a blast doing the drafts. So we'll do a few more. Now's a good time though to talk about bankroll management going into this season. Guys like me and Steve, you watched him on Sunday with me doing the best ball draft. We like to stick to a pretty strict bankroll regimen, playing roughly 3 to 4% on any given slate of our bankroll. If you're going to go into the season trying to make money, that should be uh, your your goal. You got to be very disciplined about it. Don't go over that. Some guys say 10%. I think that's too high. I really think if you want to grind bankroll growth during the course of an NFL season, um, 10% used to be okay because it used to just be one or two slates for the NFL weekend, but now we've got a Monday night showdown slate. If you don't know what showdown slate is, you're just drafting between the single Monday night game. We got the Thursday night showdown slate, and then we've got a couple slates on Sunday. So that's a lot of football. It's almost becoming a daily thing during the NFL season. So 10% seems a little high for a slate. So I try to keep it around 3, 4, 5% maybe. Okay. And then that means, if you came into this football season, stashed $100 aside and said, I'm going to try to grow that every week. I mean, 10% of that would be $10. So let's say you got $500 every week. You're going to stash, $20 or so is what you're going to play on DK or FanDuel. Uh, you really got to stick to that bankroll management if you want your money to grow. That's the main thing that I always talk to people who uh, swear FanDuel or DK are rigged because they'll go a couple of weeks win it and they'll lose it all. And it's like you got to be disciplined. You got to be disciplined. You have to uh you know really be tight on your bankroll. Now, if you're one of these guys that isn't trying to beat the game and you're just trying to come in here and hit a couple quick licks, have at it, man. Throw $100, $200 a weekend at it, whatever you can afford to lose. But um, if you are, we'll have more discussions about bankroll management. But I just wanted to touch on it briefly coming into this NFL season. If you're looking to grind that bankroll, really be disciplined this year with management. I'm telling myself that more than anybody else because I have problems with that myself. So um, but yeah, we're gonna do some more best ball drafts and stay tuned. I'll be writing breakdown articles every week as well. So yeah, I'm excited. Um, and I think that's it for us. So y'all, good luck tonight. We'll hope to see you at the top of the leaderboards. And I better get off now or I won't be able to participate. So y'all have a great Monday night and we'll talk soon.